Hi.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Caffeinated CX, where we talk about CX and stuff, all in a hyper caffeinated state. I'm David, the Caffeinated CXO, and with me is Tony G, the G Meister.
What's up, everybody? My name is Tony G. If you don't know who I am, I was a plumber for 15 years prior to owning this company called strictlyplumbers.com. And what I do is I specialize in making the phone ring with really good calls, which is advertising, and business coaching. And today we're plucking something right out of that for to piggyback on like customer service and culture. And we're talking about sales training. So check out my background, sales training for plumbers. You know, some guys are big on it. Some guys are not. Some guys hate it. If you do it in an ethical way, you'll do great. Yeah. So, Mr. Powers, do you have any questions in particular about that, or do you want me to? What do you want me to talk about in particular with it?
Hey, let's go over the sales training, because I know a lot of people get like a really bad taste in their mouth when they hear the word sales, right? Where in reality, every interaction you have with a customer or a peer or even like a vendor or sometimes even a family member is sales. You're either selling yourself, you're selling your opinion, you're selling your viewpoint, right?
Yeah.
And especially in the trades where, I mean, people need to understand that their company isn't the only company the customer is calling or reaching out to, right? So you got to grab them in the first 7 seconds, if not sooner than that, to even entertain their business, right? So, and then it's not just the CSRs or the dispatchers. When the technician gets to their house, it continues on, right? Even after the sale and after the work is done, it just continues, right? There's no end to the customer journey when it comes to the trades, because yeah, cool, we fixed the toilet. Well, the kitchen sink break next week, you know? So yes, let's start with the technician sales training. Very, very different for this podcast, but it all ties in. And especially since this podcast is kind of centered on the trades itself, even though, you know, as you tune into some episodes, it's just me ranting about something. At its core, at its heart, it is about the trades. And that's why Tony G is here. So let's just get into your sales training for plumbers.
Yes. So to piggyback on that, first of all, let me say thank you for having me on here. I appreciate that. And so everything I'm going to talk about right now is born out of my experience of being a plumber out in the field for 15 years, doing service and repair for residential and light commercial, like 80-20. 80% residential, 20% commercial. So the majority of the calls that we'd run would be like drain cleaning, water heaters, water leaks, gas leaks, typical home calls, service and repair. They're COD calls. And those are the ones that you can flip really fast, make money really fast as a plumbing business owner. So I developed the 9 steps to the perfect plumbing transition. Okay. You can actually find that on a website called www.salestrainingforplumbers.com. Super simple, right?
I'll put that in the show notes too. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Super simple. If you go there, you're going to see that I've worked with some of the biggest companies in around the world, like Mr. Rooter. We have been able to 10x their ROI with, compared to what they pay me within just 60 days. Now, we've also been able to help really, really small companies, startup companies where it's like a plumber and a helper, brand new company. And so I teach the guys, like, if you're going to perform the work and actually do the work, I can teach you how to sell between 50,000 and 80,000 a month. Okay, that's a really good sweet spot for you to make 6 figures as an employee. It's a really good sweet spot for the plumbing business owner to have somebody there that's actually performing the work. Now, if you're a salesman, it's different. I teach how to sell $100,000 a month to $125,000. All right. There's a lot of people that will do more, and that's totally cool. It depends on what kind of jobs you're selling. I can get one commercial job for like 350,000. Boohoo, right? What's 125? Today we're talking about COD. We're talking about somebody's home. You know, a house costs 350, not the plumbing. All right.
Right.
So let's talk apples to apples here. Because I know a lot of guys will contest these numbers, but I'm okay with that. All right. So I got a lot of experience with this. The small guys, you know, if you're plumbing it out 50 to 80 grand a month, and for the guys that are doing 20 grand a month, 12 grand a month, this is great for you. For the guys that are putting out 30 grand a month, this would also be good for you. The guys putting out 40, 50 grand a month already plus, this information is also really, really good for you, because it's only information similar to that, if not the same thing, that got you there, you know? So when I learned these skill sets, as a plumber, I would sell over 50K a month. And then as a salesman, I would sell over 100K a month. And I did this for about 5 years for a company called ARS, which is abbreviated for American Residential Services, which bought out Rescue Rooter. And I was at the location in San Diego. Okay. So, you know, so this skill set really not just improved my life as an employee, but when I got to teaching, when I was still there, before I, you know, created Strictly Plumbers, they had me teach the rest of the plumbers how to do the same thing. So then the shop went from 700,000 to $1 million a month. And we'd never broken those kind of numbers. So we're like, oh, what's going on? So they put me in an F-150, gave me an office, and had me train multiple shops. It was great. About, you know, 3 years later after that, you know, it wasn't like a week later, 3 years later of that, training all over the place, I ended up, this light bulb turned on, and I ended up creating strictlyplumbers.com. This is how you spell it, STRICTLY, plumbers.com. And I initiated it with like sales training and lead generation, because that's what's needed to be dialed into the shop, is like get a really good lead, a juicy call, and then treat it appropriately and make some money. And then everybody wins, though. It doesn't mean you gouge the customer. So I want to piggyback on, this is ethical sales training.
Right.
I have been hired by the PHCC 4 years in a row to perform the sales training for plumbers, basically since I went into business.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah.
I currently have about 27 staff members at my company, and I work with about between 450 and 500 plumbing business owners all over the United States, and a little bit outside the United States as well. Right. Anybody listening to this stuff, you can absolutely hire me for sales training if you just go to www.salestrainingforplumbers.com. All right. Yeah. Really simple. There's different things on there you can get. There's like, whether you want some one-on-one coaching or you want a video to learn from, and you can watch it anytime, I got your back. Okay. So what does that entail? Well, I'm going to start out with like some pillars, because after the pillars, we can break down like what's involved. I'll give you an example. One of the most important things about the sales training, number one, is let's make sure it's ethical and not shady. Let's not ruin the company culture. Let's not, burn out the customer. Let's make sure the integrity is there. Number one, that's priority. All right. Number two, the right lead, the right customer, right? Like, so if you don't have, what are you going to do? Finance a toilet handle, right? So you got to have the right job. And then I split up lead quality into two, like the customer and the job itself. Are they budget friendly? Right. This is what I call like penny pinchers, to be politically correct, budget friendly, or are they willing to invest into their home and pay you for a repipe or a reroute or something big that it is needed at this house, right, or home? So two types of quality. When they both line up, oh my gosh, you better not walk away with anything, or else like you need to go to get some training, right? Whether it's me or somebody else, go get some training. So the lead quality is there. The next step, after you make sure you get good quality jobs coming in to be able to, produce this, is going to be financing. I'm a big fan of selling on monthly payment plans to help the community, quote unquote, help Mrs. Johnson instead of doing selling her a simple $2,200, $2,500 water heater. For some people is a big deal. Okay, y'all finance that in a year, 5 years, something simple. That really gives the plumbers an advantage on helping her out.
Right.
Instead of rocking out 2,500, you rock out $50 a month or whatever the case is, right? That's called help. That's how I got my swimming pool. For me, it's a car payment. It's not like I didn't have to rack up the big ass dollar amount to install the pool in my backyard. The loan helps, right? So a lot of these people, we love to leverage money. So make sure you have a really good program in your plumbing company. And the next thing is, a lot of guys have that, but their plumbers are not good at offering it. And they misspeak. They don't say it right. They start making the customer trip out on their credit. And, oh my God, you got to run my credit. So I like to know my numbers before I even talk about credit. So if there's a $10,000 repipe, I want to do the math somehow, whether it's Service Titan or doing it myself. I like to know how much it's going to be a monthly payment plan and pitch that instead of a $10,000 repipe.
Right.
Let's call it $250 a month. And then let's say it's a drain cleaning job that turned into a repipe. Well, let's give them the drain cleaning for free. Let's push this first payment 30 days out after, know your stipulations inside your financing and be really good at talking about it and be really good at offering it without speed of a mumps, without scaring the customer, without sounding like you're not sure how it goes. Like be super confident in it. I got so good at it, I was able to sell on financing instead of the big repipe number. So that helped me a lot. Okay. And then number 2 is have a strategy. I'm sorry, number 3, have a strategy on top, like an outline of sales training for your plumbers. Don't let your plumbers run wild.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I believe that every company has a culture and then you tell them like, don't be shady, right? But to implement that, like these guys, you got them running around on an office on wheels. Like, and some of them are hooking up with customers. Some of them, like, it's pretty wild out, bro. Plumbers are.
That's the rep. Yeah. No,
it happens in every trade, right? But like, I'm a plumber, so I just after so many, it's been 2 decades now. To the 15 years, I started when I was 19, and I'm 39 now. And out of those 20 years, 15 of them were out in the field. Now I get to do this, what you see me doing now. Right. So like, I really do know my shit. Is it okay to say that?
Yeah, of course.
The SH word? Okay, great. Okay, you don't give a fuck? Well, that sounds great too, Well, fuck yeah. Okay, great. Well, shit, that probably sounds like I can drink my beer then, huh?
Go for it, man.
All right, so cheers to all the plumbers. How about that? He doesn't give a fuck, right? I'm kidding. We're not super savage like that. We're just keeping it real.
Yeah.
Because I'm a plumber. Do I own a marketing agency strictly for plumbers? Yes. Am I a marketer? Yeah, but I'm a plumber that studied marketing. So I ended up going back to San Diego State University and studying business and online advertising. And so that's how I came up with this idea. But like, I was born out of the sales training portion. So I'm like, I piece it together.
Yeah.
So one side of my business is strictly plumbers.com. And the other side of the business is sales training for plumbers.com, right? Marketing and sales training. It's a really good combo. So like the outline, don't let the guys run around in the wild, wild west, right? Because before you know it, they may be drinking a beer on the job. Like I am right now. But this is my gig. I own the business. I'm at home. This is my last call. I can have a beer. And cheers to all the guys that, have your beer. Cheers, guys. And the guys complaining, shit, don't go listen to something else.
100%. 100%. I agree with that. Just change the channel if you don't like it.
Yeah, this channel is the bomb. It's the shit here with Mr. David here. So anyways, so having an outline. So here's the thing. They need to sound like you. And if you're not a good salesman, then you need a system. Like, so that's why I invented the 9 steps to the perfect plumbing transition. And it starts with the moment you get dispatched, on your phone, iPad, whatever it is, like before you're even en route. There's things that I perform way back there.
Mhm.
The customer's already hearing my voice. I don't let the dispatcher call. I like them to hear my voice as a plumber, and I start winning them over, asking them for coffee and all that good stuff, trying to put a smile on their face so that upon arrival, some of the ice has been broken.
Right.
So it starts way, 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 way back there. And then, like, what do you do upon arrival? How do you posture? Like, that you said 7 seconds. Yeah, you're right. There's a rule to the first impression is you don't get a second chance.
Right.
And so I talk about posturing up. So what do you do upon arrival? And I break it down. Okay, now you're troubleshooting, right? They're letting you in the house. You're troubleshooting. What do you look for? What do you talk about? I like to talk about 3 things before I give them a price while I'm troubleshooting. Other than the immediate need that they're calling us for, I like to spit out 3 sentences, and it's like a staple to every job.
Mhm.
And I get them to like, know, and trust me. So I'm looking around the house like, what could I say right now to get these people to like me? And I'm walking around shooting the shit. Show me your toilet now. Yeah. What can I say right now to get these people to trust me?
Mhm.
And what can I say right now to let these people get to know me?
Right.
Like, know, and trust. Kind of mix it up there, right? But like, know, and trust. So if you're listening to this podcast, say it with me. Like,
Right.
know,
Know
and
and
trust.
trust.
If you can get that in your head and you can say 3 sentences before you give them a price,
Mhm.
it's going to be so hard for these people to say no to you.
Right.
Why would they? They like you. Shit. They know you and they trust you. Bro, if you, like, not you, you're a great guy. I'm like talking to the plumbers now, right? Bro, if you can't pull that shit off, like, then you must be, your appearance may be horrible. Like, we
Mhm.
really got to self-evaluate and be real with ourselves. So I always tell the guys to adapt to your customer and
Mhm.
talk like them. Don't be yourself to every customer.
Right.
That helps a lot. So I developed this like 4 personality. Oh, I didn't develop shit. In my program,
Mhm.
I have a lot of education, and there's this color quadrant. It speaks about 4 different types of people in this life: the green personalities, the yellow personalities, the blue and the red personalities. Real simple. There's a lot more, but the 4 common ones.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't invent that, right? This is psychology. Humans
Yeah.
study human. This is what we developed, the study of psychology. So, like, how do you identify what kind of person they are, and then how do you treat them to win them over?
Right.
So, like, the way you would talk to a retired grandma that stayed at home all her life, taking care of the children, versus let's say you're dealing with a business owner that owns 16 locations and he makes $100 million a year. You talk to those people so different.
Right.
And if we don't, and we just put out what we do, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, here's how I talk, and we're not adapting,
Mhm.
then you better hope they like you. They're not all meant to like plumbers, dude. So we got to make ourselves likable.
Right. Right.
And that's how you can easily pull it off, is like, say something to like, know, and trust you. And then you got to identify what type of personality they have, so that way you know how to treat them. And so there are 4 personality colors, and y'all can get that. It's really simple. You can go to the website www.salestrainingforplumbers.com, right? That's where you can get this information as well. So it's helped a lot. I'll give you an idea. I'll give you a great example. Last week I flew to Seattle. I was hired by Ally Plumbing. They have 15 plumbers. I was my first session there. I performed for 1 hour at the shop. Because I was at the shop, I went there. I was hanging out with the owners and admin, and we continued after the guys took off to go run the first call. I stuck around with admin, and I was working on things inside the standard operating procedures of the business, right?
Right.
Well, about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, we get a call from one of the plumbers that took the training earlier that day from me, about an hour and a half. Not one of the heavy hitters either. And he says he's stoked. This dude's in his van going, bro, I just applied all that shit Tony taught us this morning, and I just sold a tankless.
That's awesome.
This is not the guy that pops off with big sales all the time. He had a regular water heater. They didn't send him to the big juicy tankless call. They sent him to a traditional water heater call, and he was able to convert that.
Nice.
And so he was so stoked, right? So he didn't call me. He called the owner, and the owner, I happen to be with the owner. So he looks at me. Oh shit, I just got some great news. So I'm like, what is it, bro? What is it? And he tells me that news. I'm like, bro, it just paid for me coming out. You realize like that just paid for this today.
Right.
He goes, yes, fuck yeah. Yeah. So hours later, as long as the guys implement the stuff that I teach you in my program, like, man, it's powerful. Hours later, same day, from companies like that, 15 plumbers to, I remember one of the first guys they hired me outside of like the first guy that ever hired me, period. It was above and beyond drains and plumbing out of San Diego, Chula Vista. And he was pushing about 65K a month. And we got him pushing 150K a month within 90 days because of this. He didn't have to go hire more people. He didn't have to go pay for more leads. It was just a matter of how his plumbers were handling the leads.
Right. No, that's vitally important, because if they're just going out there burning calls, right, then all that money in marketing, all that money in admin, all that money in overhead, just might as well just set it on fire.
Yeah, it sucks. Big time. And I think we see that, like management sees that, down, they were overlooking stuff. We could see that. It's like, look at that. That's where the problem's at. Yeah. And because you got to these guys may be in a bad mood. Maybe they got in a fight with their wife, and now they got this like bad taste in their mouth all day. They're stressed out thinking about the wifey being pissed. Maybe these guys, there's a bunch of shit going on in these plumbers' lives, and so if you just let them operate the way they operate, they're gonna run your business the way they think business. And so it's like, whoa, that's what separates the sheep from the hybrid horses, the amazing horses. The sheep will follow, and the horses will not just lead, they'll win. They win. So you can't expect this sheep to have this winning mindset. He's putting out sheep work. You better have this sheep dialed in, like best fucking looking sheep you've ever seen. And if you don't, then it's like, oh, that's costing you money. Because if you would have, as the owner, if you would have went out to that call, you probably could have came back with 10K, 13K, 7K instead of $200. Even 3,000 over $200 is, so it makes a world of a difference. Tracking those KPIs is a part of it as well, and making a competition at the shop where it's fun, it's ethical. Don't push on nasty sales, push on ethical sales. And if you have a system to implement with them, then they have something to follow, and you don't gotta think or allow them to operate within their own mindset that is a sheep. If you're going to let them operate, they better be your sheep super well trained. Right? Every sheep's got a sheep herder too. And if we don't have a sheep herder, then what happens, guys? They run loose. And a lot of plumbers out there are running around loose. Okay. If you don't have a sheep herder, which is the manager, right? Like micromanaging sucks. So give them tact, give them a solution, give them an outline, give them strategy.
Give them parameters and fences. And probably good. I mean, micromanaging it sucks for the manager unless they're into that kind of thing, and I don't really like those guys, and it's bad for the employee, because that'll cause an employee to turn over like nothing else. When everything is being monitored, everything is being watched, they're being called after every call, stuff like that. It's like, drives people away, right? So, it does. And sometimes, it's necessary for underperformers or critically underperforming, but man, I couldn't imagine being micromanaged every single second of the day.
And the owners don't want to do that shit either.
No, they don't have time.
And neither do the managers. Like, if we can get a good employee, we give you a raise. Yes, I would. I promise I would. So here's the thing too, though, is that everybody's got to be on the same page. And if you're not, then like everybody's going on their own. Okay,
Right.
that's so let's get past that point. So you know where to go to get the outline and like get some training. Um, I think that it's important to like sometimes mom tells us these things all of our life, but when the
Mhm.
coach tells you, you're like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
right?
It's the
So
cool
the
uncle effect.
owners,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
owners sometimes the owners say the same thing over and over, and these dudes
Mhm.
don't get it. It's like, well, bring in a coach. And so
Yeah.
that's what I noticed. So like if you guys go to Google, everybody uses Google Maps. So if you were to look
Mhm.
at my company, Strictly Plumbers, on Google Maps, it's located in Chula Vista, California. That's where my office is at, which is inside San Diego. It's my hometown. So if you go to Google Maps, you punch in Strictly Plumbers in Chula Vista, you'll find my location, right? And look at the reviews. You'll see some reviews where employees took a picture of themselves and said, because of this man, Tony G, and this training, I now make, I now sell $100,000 a month.
Nice.
I've never done that before. Wow, thank you so much. And that's the guys from Mr. Rooter doing that because they're equipped. They got the mindset. They're not doing it in a shady way. We're flipping a lot of the cultures. I know that
Mhm.
stuff happened in the past, but we're talking about ethical sales training. So if I can teach a employee how to sell 100K a month, the owner is gonna love it.
Mhm.
So if you look at my reviews, you'll see I have owners and employees talking about we added 100K to their sales a month, and that's
Yeah.
just one employee out of many. So go look at it for yourself, for anybody listening, you know. But I think those are some of the key elements in ongoing
Mhm.
training.
Yeah.
Like because you
Yeah.
train them once doesn't mean they got
Right.
it forever. So let's do every Tuesday at 7 a.m. for the guys that need it. And once
Right.
they graduate out of it, and you track the KPIs, and if they fall under 40, 50K or 30K or whatever the number is, hey, go back to the coaching class. It's
Mhm.
every Wednesday at 7 a.m.
Yeah. No, repetition is so important with that because I saw a stat that like broke my heart like about a year ago. And it was like the initial learning, 100%, right? 20 minutes after, you're at about 80, right? A couple weeks later, you're at like 20, maybe 15% of the knowledge that you gained,
Oh,
which is almost
yeah.
nothing. So and then if you repeat it like every other day, you're listening to the coaching and the training and everything, you're going through the manuals and everything. It like you never kind of reach like the 100% again, but you never drop below 80. And sometimes 80% is all you need. So
Yeah. Sometimes guys will take that 20% of all that information. It's the missing link to the puzzle. It's like,
mhm,
oh, that's how you
yeah,
get change orders on
yeah,
almost all the calls. Oh, like they're just have this aha moment. And
mhm,
now they're taking their $3,000 jobs to seven, their
right,
$7,000 jobs to 10. And that second change order is a big deal when you set the proper expectations throughout the call.
right,
So I teach all that, what to say, what not to say, bad words, all
mhm,
that good stuff.
yeah,
I hope that was of help for
yeah,
today. You know,
no, definitely.
some key pillars and key
Hmm.
elements about sales training on the ethical, side of it. With you're not shady and burning out
Right,
customers, burning out your business. Like nobody wants that shit. Not the
no,
customer, not the owner, and the
no,
plumber is going to get fired. None of us want that. So some of
no,
these guys, because they're not educated, they'll just do whatever they think is good, and they think that is good.
yeah.
So watch out.
No, 100%, man. That was great. So, and I think it can be tied into customer service representatives who are taking your calls and taking your leads, right? Because they need sales training too, even though they're not technically selling anything, unless they're selling like, memberships and stuff like
That's
that,
true.
right? But dispatchers, because they're the ones that are going to be setting it up and prioritizing when the technician is going out there. So they
Yeah,
have to be able to identify
tracking,
those good leads, right?
tracking, right?
So it all ties into each other, right?
It
So
does.
and it's
Yeah,
one big happy family when everyone's aligned. And I think everybody should honestly go through the same training, right?
yeah, yeah.
Everybody in the company should go through plumbing sales training. Every single member of the company should go through like the CSR and dispatch training so that everybody knows what everybody else's role is, right? And I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of companies are doing that. I think they're all siloed and just
They,
partitioned.
they think they don't have enough time.
Yeah,
And a lot of guys say that. And you know, if you're saying that, that means you're not managing your time right.
Exactly.
And this may sting for some people, but some people are saying, fuck, he's right, though. You know, like it's the truth. That was my hard truth, too. You know, so we got to accept it. The 3 A's: accept, adapt, and take action.
100,
Come on now.
100%.
You know,
so if you don't have the time, make the time. It's important.
Yeah, dude. So it could bring in another 10, 20 grand if you just do that one thing.
100%.
A month.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. So
I feel like I see a lot of guys, they'll grow their sales within their sales, and it adds so much sales that it's like if you bring in another employee. And the truth is, like, you didn't have to pay for more marketing. You didn't have to pay for another van, another head, another drama queen,
right.
another plumber running around your shop that you have to babysit. And no, same dudes, heavy hitters. Let's go.
Yeah,
100%. You know, ethically.
Yeah, always ethically.
Yeah.
If you're doing it unethically, you're doing it wrong, and you're giving a bad name to the rest of the trade, and you're gonna fuck it up for everybody. So. Yeah. Because you'll get caught. So
yeah, and it's nasty.
Yeah, 100%. All right.
Cool, bro.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Yes, sir.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. I'm glad we were able to schedule this and execute it within not even 24 hours. All right. And
no cuts.
No cuts. I do not cut. Even if we both messed up completely, it would have stayed in because I hate editing.
Yeah.
So mostly because I'm really bad at it. So, but this episode will be released tomorrow morning, actually. So
send me the link, baby.
I will. And for all of you out there, just remember to rate, review, and share the show so we can make the show grow. And all right, thank you, Tony G. And